How's it going, guys? Joey Duca here from CSC Motorcycles. And in today's video, we're gonna go over one of the most overlooked procedures in motorcycle maintenance, maintaining your wheels. Now, neglecting your wheels will cause instability due to loose spokes and worn bearings, and you'll get that dreaded death wobble. Now, when servicing your wheels, use a suitable motorcycle stand or jack, and inspect your wheels at your first 500-mile service and every scheduled service thereafter. All right, guys, help me out today with how to explain how to adjust your spokes. We have our resident wheel expert from CSC Motorcycles, Mr. Matt Carroll, a gentleman who has been known to twist a nipple or two.
Thanks, Joey. I'm excited to be here to discuss wheels and particularly wheel maintenance for your CSC motorcycle wheels. Probably the best place to start is just to look at the main components of the wheel. And what we're looking at is the rim, the nipple, the spoke, and the hub of the wheel. These are the components that make up the wheel, and essentially these wires are laced through the hub. So you could look at spokes and nipples as being fasteners. You have a bolt and you have a nut. Essentially this wire will feed through as you're lacing the wheel through the hub, through the rim, and then the nipple comes from the tire side of the wheel and the threads engage. And the more you twist on that nipple, the tighter the spoke gets. You're increasing the tension of your wheel and making movement of the rim. And that kind of leads into the truing process. So you have lacing, which is assembling the wheel, and then the truing of the wheel. And the way the wheel is trued is the hub is stationary and the movement occurs to the rim just by creating tension on specific spokes. You can move the lateral movement of the wheel and by moving the rim side to side, and that's what you want to do, is eliminate any kind of lateral run out and also the radial, the up and down run out. Both of those you want to minimize in a wheel so that it rolls round and true. There's a very detailed process and it takes a lot of experience and skills to really properly true a wheel. It involves the math, it involves the tactile skills, and then just the organic side of it. And that occurs just from experience, knowing how much tension to apply and how much movement occurs as you're placing that tension on the wheel.
You know, I've actually trued one wheel in my life, and it took me 2 days to do it, and I really don't even think it was even that true. It's definitely a lost art.
It's definitely a lost art. It's a dying art. Fewer and fewer people are doing it. It is an in-depth process that occurs, but what we wanted to do is take all that information, simplify it for you today so that you can easily maintain your CSC motorcycle wheels at home, in your garage, on your bike.
All right, so what's the first step in doing that, man?
Probably the first place you want to start is with an inspection of the wheel, and that's going to be a visual inspection. You really want to pay attention to the spokes, to the rim. You're looking for any kind of discrepancies among the spokes. You're looking for weak points in the spokes, which typically are the bend angles of the spoke and the place where the spoke meets the nipple. That's normally where you'll see spokes break or crack. Sometimes you might find a missing spoke in your wheel. You don't even realize it happened until it's too late. Here's an example of a broken spoke, and that's exactly where it broke, right at the bend of the spoke. That was a weak point for it. So you want to get that good visual inspection first, then you want to start paying attention to the actual tension on the wheel.
So you want the wheel to be tensioned, and you want it to be tensioned evenly, right?
That's right. Consistency is the key here. You want to have each spoke consistently torqued with the other spokes. And to do so, you can use a spoke wrench, and you can use different techniques that are very easy to find out if there are any loose spokes on your wheel.
So for the average shade tree mechanic, what's the easiest technique to check your tension on your spokes?
Probably the easiest is at home with the wheel on the bike. You can use the sound technique, and you're essentially using a wrench to bang each spoke. And as you hit the spoke, you hear the sound. If you find a pitch that's flat, that sounds like a flat sound, then that's a loose spoke. And you want to bring that spoke up to the tension of the ones that are around it.
Oh, it's like tuning a guitar.
That's it. Guitar, piano, you're using the wire, you're stretching the wire, you're placing tension on that wire to provide the correct level of tension on the entire wheel.
So you're not necessarily tightening all the spokes, you're just bringing the loose spokes up the tension.
That's it. As we mentioned with the truing process, it's a very in-depth process. And anytime you put tension on a nipple or on the spoke by twisting the nipple, you're essentially moving the rim. So you don't want to overdo it. You don't want to make adjustments that are unnecessary. You only want to find any loose spokes that may be in your wheel and apply the correct level of tension on those.
Okay. Are there any special tools needed?
You can use a spoke wrench. There are variations in spoke wrenches. Here's a universal wrench. It's got different size fitment for the different size flats on nipples. Here's a basic spoke wrench. This one provides good fitment on the nipples that we have on this wheel. And that's something to point out. You don't want to use a wrench that's too large, because what will happen is you'll round off the nipple, the flats.
That's the last thing you want to do is round off your nipple.
That could hurt.
Oh yeah. Well, Matt, thank you for coming today and helping me explain on how to adjust your spokes. Believe it or not, guys, adjusting your spokes and general wheel maintenance is the most overlooked thing on servicing your motorcycle. So again, Matt, thank you for coming by today.
Glad to be here and maybe simplify this process for you.
So when you inspect your rims, you want to inspect for any cracks, any dents, or any out of roundness. Now the best way to do this, I think, is you get a rag and you clean your wheel. Right, cleaning is inspecting, and you want to check for any abnormalities. Now, you also want to check the bearings. If the wheel is off the bike, the way you can check your bearings is by putting your finger in the hole and check for any roughness or any play. Now, if the rim is on the bike, you want to grab the rim and pull it back and forth and check for lateral play. So on your tires, you want to check your tread depth. The easiest way to do it is by getting a penny and measuring to the top of Honest Abe's head. You want at least 1/32 of an inch tread depth on your tires. Now, in addition to tread depth, you also want to make sure that your tire is not too old. Generally, motorcycle tires are good for 5 years, and you can check what day this tire was manufactured by looking at your DOT number. Every tire has a DOT number. The first series of numbers is the serial number of the tire, and the last 4 numbers is actually the date stamp. Now, the first 2 numbers is the week of the year. There's 52 weeks of the year. So this one's 24, so this is made on the 24th week, and the last 2 numbers is the year. So this tire was made in the 24th week of 2020. All right, guys, don't forget, we also carry aftermarket aluminum wheels for your TT250. They have aluminum wheels, stainless steel spokes, and aluminum billet hubs, both available in 21-inch front, 18-inch rear. And also, if you want to run some Supermoto wheels, we have 17-inch Supermoto wheels available for your TT250 with a 17 by 3.5 front and a 17 4.25 rear. All right, so for those who are not into adjusting your spoke nipples every service, we also have cast wheels for your RX-4. Is that straight? That's straight? Yeah. All right. Oh yeah, nobody wants to round off their nipple.
That's for sure. Because what will happen is you'll round off the nipple, the flats.
That's the last thing you want to do is round off your nipple.
That could hurt.
Oh yeah.
Once you find a loose spoke, you can make your adjustment using a spoke wrench.
So are there different size spoke wrenches?
Yeah, this one won't even fit on this. As a matter of fact, there are.